I am Greg's uncle, but I should tell you that he never called me uncle without a smile on his face. In fact, when I think about it, he rarely said anything to me without a smile on his face. And I know that he wasn't always happy. And I know that there were times when he certainly wasn't happy, but was still cheerful. His cheerfulness was part of his generosity. He was generous to his family, to his friends, and to people that he didn't know. I think for him his veganism was being quietly generous to the universe. So I'm Greg's uncle, but my principal qualification for this task is that I am one of the few people, one of the very few people here today who has run a game of chess against Greg. He gave me a queen, a rook and a bishop, and he was 8. But a win's a win, especially against Greg Hall. I still sometimes reflect on that game, that epic game nearly 40 years ago, and I still sometimes wonder if he threw the game. Greg was known for being eccentric, and he was, but he was also different in more profound ways. And his eccentricity was a light display of deeper differences with which he struggled all his life, and from an early age. Bob has talked about his time at Pressel and at St Leonard's. I had occasion to spend a short period teaching at St Leonard's some 20 years after Greg was there, and I was amazed by the number of teachers who made a connection with my name and sought me out to ask about Greg. Actually, before that, I was amazed to see his name on the school's honours board as having been Dux to the school in Year 12. This was news to me. His Year 12 English teacher said that he was still the best English student that she had ever had. She described his essays, in her words, as lyrical masterpieces that she said regularly left her in tears. I have some sympathy for that position. All this was from teachers who in the intervening decades had met and taught and known literally thousands of students. Greg was living in the US at this time, so it was a little while before I had the chance to pass this on. But when I did, as I should have expected, he was genuinely bemused by the regard in which he was held by the staff of his old school. He was modest, but in my view his modesty was a sign of something deeper, a determination to resist being dominated by his intellect, to resist being defined by his intellect. And his intellect was truly extraordinary. So for his whole life he viewed the admiration of others with suspicion, or if not with suspicion, with a kind of scepticism. Personally, if I had Greg's intellect, I would be happy to be defined by it, but not Greg. On the issue of modesty, I later wondered why it was that no one at St Leonard's had asked me about Greg's chess. This was a bit surprising because he had won major chess titles while he was still at school. And then it occurred to me that it was entirely likely that no one at the school even knew that he was a chess player. This too was a pattern for his whole life. As members of Greg's family, we had spent the last week finding out things about Greg that we didn't really know. Obviously personal stuff, but stuff like the Carp Prize in 2003, which Greg might have mentioned, but we are now only understanding the importance of, and the Tarski lectures last year, and so on. And Hawth's theory of turbulence, for heaven's sake. I should tell you that initially the mention of Hawth's theory of turbulence produced some scepticism in the family. There were some that thought that it might have been a joke, and not just a joke, but a joke that had in some way been arranged by Greg. But it isn't, it's absolutely straight, which is to say that it's in the literature. Greg did first year arts at Melbourne and won a number of exhibitions, including in philosophy and in classics, where when he went to the arts faculty early the following year to talk about his subject choice for second year, he was once again genuinely surprised by the fact that, to quote him, they knew me, they actually knew who I was. That was a surprise. Yes, they knew who